The key indicators for Ogden: total taxable sales, slight decrease. Number of reporting firms went from 87 to 90. Population, slight decrease. Average sales per firm, slight decrease. And average sales per capita, slight decrease. The total taxable retail sales and the number of reporting firms in Ogden. The top chart in red is the retail sales for a 10-year span, and the blue is actually the reporting firms. And so we take a look at the top portion here. As far as retail sales, we see a drop in 2005, and then pretty consistent through the pre-recession years of 06, 07, and 08, and then a drop in 09, and then it's also held pretty steady. It hasn't recovered back to the pre-recession sales. When we go to the reporting firms, it's a little bit different story. We actually see that 91, 92, 87, that's your reporting firms, and that's held pretty steady all the way through, even through the recession. Taxable retail sales per capita. This is basically the total taxable sales divided by the population. So in the blue dotted line, you'll see that this is for the state of Iowa, and it's been running a little less than 12 for per capita sales. Then when you go to Ogden in the blue dash, you'll see that running about a third of that. But what is interesting to note, in the blue line, you'll notice for the state of Iowa that in the recession years there was a dip, but actually in Ogden there wasn't a dip. Actually, it was an increase during the recession period. So this kind of tells me that the businesses that Ogden has are probably their core businesses, and the people are going to use those regardless of the recession or economic turndown. One of the components of retail sales is population trends, and so we see in this chart we have the annual estimates as a percentage of the 2003 population, and we see Ogden in the red solid line and Boone County in the red dotted line, and then state of Iowa in the blue dash. And you see the state of Iowa has actually increased, and during this period of time has increased about 5%, whereas you see Boone County and Ogden, they're pretty much followed the same track, and they're back even a little bit below the 2003 population. The cities in the retail trade report are grouped together in peer groups and based on the population. And so this is the peer group top 10 for Ogden's population group. So you can see Elkader per capita sales of 31,000, Sully at 22, Edgewood at 21, and then Ogden at 3,997. One thing that we can use this chart for is actually to kind of compare what does Audubon have or Greenfield have that Ogden doesn't have, and what kind of strategies can they be using. But this particular peer group will be using in some charts coming up. This estimated trade area capture, and its annualized number of shoppers, and so you're taking a retail bundle and then you're dividing it back into your gross retail sales. You're coming up with how many shoppers you have. The red dash is the actual number of shoppers, and that's what the equation's coming out to. But then the blue line is the number of shoppers in Ogden. So you can see that the red line is quite a bit below the blue, and that typically means that there's leakage and the shoppers are actually going somewhere else to do their shopping. This is the pull factor comparison utilizing the peer group. In the last slide we were looking at shoppers, retail shoppers, and this one we're using it as a ratio. And so we see the blue dot is Ogden, and the blue dash is peer median. And so we can see that the peer group is above the Ogden ratio, and what that is telling us is compared to the ratio, we have people that are not doing all their shopping inside of Ogden. If it was above 1.0, that actually would mean we would have people coming into Ogden to do their shopping. But in this case, we have people going out to do their shopping, retail shopping. This is a chart of worker inflows and outflows for 2011. The blue arrow is those number of people, 293, that are employed in Ogden but living elsewhere. And then the circle, the 88, is employed and living in Ogden. And then the red arrow to the right, the 675, are living in Ogden but employed elsewhere. So you got a lot of people that are living in Ogden, but they're working in some other location. And this isn't necessarily such a bad situation to be in, because you have a lot of employee base, actually. If we had some retail startups in Ogden, you could probably bring some of those people back into the area again. This is a chart of per capita sales for neighboring communities around Ogden. So you see at the left we have Ames coming in at 12,000 per capita sales, and we have Boone at 11 and Perry at 11, and then we see Ogden tapering off to 3,697. And so this isn't really Ogden's still in the game as far as city population size. I mean, you can still bring some retail into this. They have a population over 2040, and usually that's kind of the break off for some of these cities to start attracting some retail trade.